The Book of Revelation, the final text of the New Testament, is a complex and symbolic work that has captured the imaginations of theologians, historians, and laypeople for centuries. Fundamentally, it is a prophetic book, attributed to John of Patmos, inscribing a series of apocalyptic visions. The essence of its message revolves around the end times, the final judgment, and the ultimate victory of good over evil. Revelation's rich imagery and predictions have been instrumental in shaping Christian eschatological thought, portraying a dramatic narrative of divine intervention and renewal. In terms of significance, the Book of Revelation has deeply influenced Christian doctrine and practice, sparking various interpretations that have colored religious and cultural landscapes throughout history. Its prophecies have not only provided solace and hope for believers, but also fueled intense debates and anticipation concerning the end of the world. Furthermore, the text's apocalyptic vision has transcended religious spheres, impacting literature, art, and politics, particularly during times of social and political upheaval. For example, the imagery of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse has been widely interpreted in Western art and literature, serving as a potent symbol of doom and destruction. Similarly, the concept of 666, the number of the beast, has infiltrated cultural and political narratives, often employed to demonize opponents or critique systems deemed tyrannical or unjust. These interpretations illustrate how Revelation's prophecies extend beyond theological boundaries, influencing broader societal beliefs and fears. Scholars and theologians have varied opinions about Revelation. Some view it as a literal prediction of future events, while others see it as allegorical, reflecting the struggles of early Christians under Roman persecution. This divergence highlights its role as a source of hope and a tool for critique or fear-mongering, depending on the interpretive lens. However, the Book of Revelation also presents challenges and controversies. Its ambiguous and symbolic language has led to diverse interpretations, sparking debate about its meanings and implications. Critics argue that its apocalyptic visions can incite fear and foster extremism. The varied interpretations have sometimes led to divisive religious sects and movements, each claiming exclusive insight into its prophecies. Revelation's themes of struggle, redemption, and divine justice influence other aspects of eschatology, contributing to ongoing discussions about morality, the future, and human destiny. Its dramatic narrative provides a compelling framework for understanding history and the human condition, bridging the past with anxieties about the future. The concept of key prophecies and their symbolic meanings from the Book of Revelation involves examining the vivid and often enigmatic visions within this biblical text, which is the final book of the New Testament. Prophecies in Revelation are highly symbolic, employing imagery such as the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, the Beast, and the Whore of Babylon to convey messages about the end times, divine judgment, and the ultimate victory of good over evil. These symbols are foundational to Christian eschatology and have significantly impacted both religious thought and broader cultural narratives. The significance of understanding these key prophecies lies in their profound influence on religious ideologies, artistic expressions, and even geopolitical movements throughout history. Interpreting these symbols offers insight into the mindset of early Christians under Roman persecution, while their adaptability to various historical contexts demonstrates their persistent relevance. Moreover, these prophecies have often been harnessed to instigate reformations, motivate social change, or justify political actions by those who align contemporary events with apocalyptic predictions. To illustrate, consider Martin Luther's use of Revelation to support the Protestant Reformation. He identified the papacy with the beast, using this symbolism to argue against Catholic orthodoxy and press for religious reform. Another example is the widespread fascination with Revelation's prophecies during the Cold War, where political tensions and the threat of nuclear annihilation led some to view the era as potentially apocalyptic. Echoing the imagery of Revelation, supporters of the prophetic interpretations argue that these symbols provide a framework to understand ongoing spiritual battles and future divine interventions. They see Revelation as a timeless message of hope, promising redemption and justice. However, the interpretation of Revelation's prophecies is fraught with challenges and controversies. Many dispute the literal versus allegorical readings of its symbols, and some criticize the text as overly deterministic or fear-mongering. Additionally, associating these symbols with specific contemporary events can lead to misjudgments and cause undue alarm. These prophecies link deeply with Revelation's broader themes, such as the struggle between good and evil and the eventual establishment of a new divine order. Their interpretations not only reflect historical and cultural shifts, but also reveal ongoing human concerns about morality, justice, and the fate of the world. Understanding these symbolic prophecies thus provides valuable insight into both the historical impact and the enduring influence of the Book of Revelation. Interpretations through the ages. A historical overview highlights how views of the Book of Revelation have varied across different periods, reflecting shifts in cultural, religious, and political contexts. The Book of Revelation, often seen as one of the most mysterious and prophetic texts of the New Testament, has been subject to numerous interpretations since its inception. This point is significant to the main topic, as it underscores how interpretations have not only influenced religious doctrine, but also historical events and societal trends. Historically, interpretations of Revelation have been pivotal during periods of upheaval. For example, in the Middle Ages, the text was often seen as a direct prophecy relating to the struggles between Christian kingdoms and their adversaries. Many medieval theologians interpreted it as a description of the battle between good and evil, reflecting the turbulence of their times. Another notable instance is during the Protestant Reformation. Leaders like Martin Luther and John Calvin used Revelation to critique the Catholic Church, portraying it as the whore of Babylon and aligning their cause with a divine mandate for reform. These interpretations fueled religious transformation and political conflicts across Europe. The influence of Revelation extends into contemporary times, with certain evangelical and millenarian movements using it to predict modern events and guide political attitudes. For example, some groups interpret the book as predicting specific geopolitical events in the Middle East, influencing foreign policy attitudes and actions. However, these interpretations are not without controversy. Critics argue that using Revelation to predict contemporary events or justify political stances can lead to dangerous dogmatism. Diverse opinions exist within Christianity itself, with some denominations emphasizing a more symbolic or allegorical interpretation that focuses on spiritual battles rather than earthly ones. Others see it as purely historical, relating only to the context of its original audience. Alternative viewpoints offer rich insights, suggesting that rather than providing a direct roadmap for the future, Revelation serves as a powerful allegory for resilience and hope amid oppression. This divergence in interpretations prompts continuous debate, illustrating how deeply intertwined Revelation is with the broader religious and historical tapestry. Thus, interpretations through the ages not only shape our understanding of Revelation itself, but also demonstrate its profound impact on spirituality, politics, and cultural identity over the centuries. The concept of impact on Christianity and religious thought refers to how the Book of Revelation, with its vivid imagery and prophetic narratives, has shaped not only Christian eschatology, the study of end times, but also broader theological discourse and religious beliefs throughout history. Revelation serves as a cornerstone for Christian apocalyptic thought, outlining visions of the apocalypse, the final judgment, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. Its significance lies in its profound influence on how Christians interpret the nature of divine intervention, salvation, and the moral imperatives of their faith. One significant impact is how the Book of Revelation has served as a source of hope and perseverance for believers during periods of persecution or hardship. For example, the early Christians under Roman rule found solace in Revelation's promise of eventual deliverance and victory over tyrannical forces, reinforcing their commitment to their faith despite oppression. Another example is its role in shaping the development of millenarian movements, which anticipate a transformative period linked to Christ's return. Throughout history, groups like the Millerites in the 19th century have derived inspiration from Revelation's prophecies, leading to the formation of new denominations and religious movements, like Seventh-day Adventism, when their predictions of the end times galvanized adherents. Scholars and theologians point to Revelation's ability to challenge believers to reformulate their understanding of justice, morality, and God's plan for humanity. This underscores its enduring relevance and inspirational power. However, the interpretation of Revelation's prophecies is not without challenges and controversies. Some contemporary critics argue that using Revelation to predict specific historical events is fraught with ambiguity and at times misuse. This can lead to sensationalism or fear-mongering, as seen in the case of interpreting geopolitics through an apocalyptic lens, which may inadvertently divert focus from the core messages of faith and ethical conduct. Furthermore, alternative viewpoints emphasize the symbolic and metaphorical readings over literal interpretations, arguing that the text serves more as a theological allegory reflecting the ongoing spiritual battle between good and evil, rather than a detailed forecast of future events. The impact of Revelation on Christianity interconnects with other theological discussions, influencing ecclesiastical teachings, liturgical traditions, and cultural expressions within Christianity. It reinforces and often revisits fundamental themes such as redemption, divine justice, and the moral path believers are called to follow. In essence, the Book of Revelation not only shapes Christian eschatological perspectives, but also continues to inspire and challenge the faithful in their spiritual journey and societal engagement.